Having said that, look, life is about who you spend it with. Life is about who we have around us. And if we put together our connections, if we look together to find those people who resonate with us. Look, Curtis joined me because he resonated with the words I was using.
Yeah.
And then once he resonated and he reached out and he connected, it was up to me to share the vision, to share my message, so that maybe you would be more in line to support me.
Yeah.
These are the things we're working for, and we need people, as I said. And so it's all about the relationships we build. So that's why I'm pleased to present our next speaker. Look, he's been in our lives for quite a while.
Yeah.
He's helped us on our relationships. Do you have his bio at hand? Because I'd love for you to introduce him.
I do. Hold on, give me a moment. Look it up.
So our next speaker is a relationship breakthrough specialist. I love that term. I can't wait for you to meet him.
Jim Hetherington.
Very good. Go ahead.
He's a relationship breakthrough specialist. As a relationship mentor, his clients become more aware of his communications. They manage their expectations of themselves and others and take massive action steps to achieve a more balanced life. He's the founder of Your Next Level Coaching Academy. He and his team create unique programs designed to empower individuals and partners to achieve next level success in life and business. With his 38-year marriage, 30 years as a mentor, leader, and pastor, awesome, and an entrepreneur for 25 years, Jim has extensive experience in all relationships. Jim encourages clients and audiences that to have real success, they must first discover how to relate to themselves and others well. He is a #1 best-selling author, and so he has 5 books they wrote. He has received worldwide recognition and awards for his work. Jim pursuit of sharing his message on relationship has led him worldwide, and he has appeared on NBC, ABC, CBC, Fox, and other networks. Learn more about Jim by visiting jimhetherington.com or connecting him on his social media platforms. As such, www.coachjim360.com. This is awesome. Hey, Jim, what do you have today? All right, Jim. Is he sharing?
Are we able to get Jim on the screen? Jim, if you talk, you'll come on the screen. We're on speaker view. Okay, Jim got kicked out for some reason. Not sure what he pressed, but no worries. I'm sure Jim will come back to us momentarily. Again, that was Jim Hetherington who's going to come on and join us. I'm sure he'll reconnect. We haven't lost him for the day, I hope, because he's going to share some valuable information.
You can sign in a second. Just keep your eye on the wait room.
No worries. So have you, what's your experience with Jim personally?
I met him at one of the Raymond Aaron events, or several events. He's also spoken on stage, just like Anna has. So I've known those guys for some time now. Jim is a really good guy. He's like a father guy figure type person. It's like one of those relationships. Like even though he's older than you, he feels like your father, and it's a trusted dad experience with him. He's very open. He's like, hey, has great advice. Is like great insight on things. And that might be also because he's also a pastor, which is I always find pastors are very welcoming people generally. Yeah, I was going to join one of his courses before, but obviously I didn't have money at the time to take care of it, so I missed that opportunity. But I do know that a few other people that have taken his courses have been very well liked by it, and they've definitely changed their relationships with themselves, the people they know, and their business relationships with others, because the insights that he teaches are great. What's the name of his book? Do you have his book or no?
Yep, I have his first one that I got. Your Relationship Rescue Handbook.
Yes, that's right.
And then he's combined on other compilations and things like that. So He is
Fantastic.
accomplished for sure.
Absolutely. Cool. Hopefully comes on soon. Any,
Yeah, I'm hoping he can join us because that
can
is
you
part of
message
our
him
book.
maybe?
Pardon?
Message him maybe? If he's right.
Sure. Can you say a few things while I maybe try to get him on the line?
Okay, let's see. So, how about we do some? So, what kind of books have you read there?
Oh, what a loaded question.
Yeah.
So let me bring this forward then.
Yep.
Everybody's read this book, right? At least most of the people on this line have read this book. Have you read this book, Curtis?
Yes.
What's it
PDF,
done for you?
Yeah. Just different insight about money and then how it works, and just your money mindset changes, right?
Right. And in it, I think he has 17 principles on how to live a better life, or 13 principles, one of them. But anyways, my whole point for doing that was, not many people know about this book.
How to sell your life? Nope, not too many. That's a
How to
rewrite.
Sell Your Way Through Life by the same gentleman, Napoleon Hill. And in this, he says, I wish I can get this book into the hands of every young gentleman. Now he's talking, this is written back in the early 1900s. So he's talking to young gentlemen, right? Young men who are going to be the up and comers of society. Everybody who's about to graduate from high school, he says, I wish I could put this in their hands, because this book contains all the guidance, not necessarily on how to be a salesman, but how to sell your way through life. Because aren't we all salesmen?
Yep.
Aren't we all doing things to help people live a better life?
Yes, we are.
No matter what, we're trying to send a message to people. We're trying to deliver our vision. Teachers do it. Teachers, they've learned how to deliver a message in a certain way. So teachers are salesmen. They have to sell our students on, this is the information that you need. This information is correct. So really, it is about how to talk to people in a way to share their messages. And it teaches, like some of the things you mentioned yesterday in that book, Influence by Dr. Cialdini, or whatever. It's Cialdini, I think it is.
Cialdini.
Yeah, that book, Influence. It really is much the same principles that these are basic human reactions that we cannot help.
Yep.
I'm wondering.
Are you able to re-invite Jim?
I don't know. Are you a connection with Jim? Are you able to send him?
No, I don't have his email or anything.
I've sent him on Messenger and he's not responding.
Okay.
So there we go. Perfect.
Got him?
Yep.
Back in? Okay, great.
Joining to us now. So
perfect. Awesome.
There we go. We've had him join him. Jim Hetherington, how are you today? Thank you for being able to get back on and joining us today. You're on mute, but as soon as you talk, you'll be on speaker.
Right on, Jim. Welcome.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate that wonderful introduction. It's too bad I had to bow out there for a second.
I'm glad we didn't lose you for the day, because as I've been telling people, you have a lot of valuable information to share. So hope people get that.
Oh, so you were telling all kinds of stories while I was off camera.
Yeah, we were talking about you behind your back.
Okay, got you.
All good stuff, though, Jim.
That's wonderful. Well, I appreciate that. And I appreciate the comments you guys shared earlier. I've been listening this morning and I appreciate those comments. And I want to just give a shout out to you guys. I appreciate what you guys are doing here. This is fantastic. I appreciate and applaud your efforts and all that you're doing here. And even the audience behind you there, Curtis, that's amazing. So that's good. Well, look, I'm happy to be here and just happy to be able to share here this morning. So this is going to be fun.
Awesome.
So I joined in yesterday. I listened to a little bit of what was going on, and I thought it was just fantastic. Like you said, there were so many good presenters. They had so much value to offer, and I was taking notes, as I always do when I'm sitting in watching things. I'm always taking notes, and so I thought it was just a fantastic day, and I'm looking forward to today. I know there's going to be some great stuff this afternoon. I know Ahmed, I know a couple of other guys, and I'm here with you right now, and so I want to share, because I know that some of your viewers, some of the people joining you are at different levels. right? Some are on that entrepreneur journey, trying to build that success, trying to find that balance and that struggle. And I'm going to share a little bit of my story in a minute. And there's others that are just kind of exploring it, just kind of looking at it and just deciding what they want to do. So regardless of why you're on these calls, I'm just glad you're here, because it shows that you've got some interest in moving yourself forward and moving and growing to becoming who you're meant to be. So I'm just going to share my screen, if that's okay. And just give me a thumbs up if you can see a shot of my mug. All right, you're all right there. So good. So far technology is on our side. So anyways, as I said, I am really excited to be here. And if I can get my slides to work, I'd be doing really good. There we go. So I'm really excited to be with you today. Like I said, I know many of you are here at different levels. You have different things that you desire to get out of this time. And your time is valuable. Your time is important. I recognize that. And during my time with you today, I'm going to share 3 simple steps that will bring greater clarity to your life and business so that you can enjoy next level success. Would that be good, or is that good? I mean, who would like to have 3 key elements to help grow their life to the next steps? And this comes out of my journey. 12 years ago, my life derailed and I almost died because I had overworked and overspent myself and I had burnt out. And it was during a 3-month or 6-month journey of getting my health back on track and recovering things that I developed or came across these 3 steps. And this is what's helped me to get myself back on track. But as I said, many of you are here for different reasons. You're at different stages. You know, you may be one of the 85% of North Americans that are just going to jobs that they can't stand. And if that's you, just give me a 1 in the chat. Let me know that, you know, are you one of those? I mean, that's almost 8 or 9 out of 10 people that are going to work Monday to Friday, working whatever shift they're doing at something that they don't enjoy doing. And then the Gallup poll did a huge survey right across the globe. And they've interviewed billions of people, and they discovered that 66% of the planet are actively disengaged or not engaged in their jobs. What does that mean? They're just showing up. They're just showing up, collecting a paycheck, and just going through the motions. They just have no desire to be there. And that's 2/3 of the population. I'm not going to do the math, but 7 billion plus people, that's a lot of people. And it's interesting to note that women, you're absolutely amazing. You have a higher satisfaction rate in your jobs. And I think a lot of that has to do with just your ability to process things. Women, you're wonderful at connecting with your emotions and separating things and just persevering through. Whereas us guys, we tend to complain a little bit. But, speaking of complaining, you've heard that expression, it can always be worse, right? You stub your toe and it hurts for a few days. Somebody would say, oh, well, it could be worse. You could have broke it, right? If we get a foot of snow that we get, we've gotten quite a bit in this region lately. If we got a foot of snow, somebody could say, oh, it could always be worse. You could have got 2 feet of snow, right? So it could always be worse. So I thought it'd be fun just to share a few other jobs that, it could be a little bit worse. I mean, you could be this. You could be an odor judge, right? Could you imagine getting up Monday to Friday and your job is to go around smelling people's breath, their feet, and their armpits? Right. And just to make sure that you're doing your job properly, the companies will test to make sure your smell is working good. Right. So you don't have to worry about destroying your smell. You'll be able to smell the armpits and the feet and the breath and keep going. I just hope they don't have to do the before and after stuff. I hope it's just after the product. Or how about this? A dog food tester. How would you love to show up and your job is just to go along and crack open that can of dog food and bite into it just to give it a taste. And not only compare that dog food, you're comparing it to human food and other dog foods. So you're sampling all kinds of foods all day long. So your job is just to snack on dog biscuits, chew on bones, and eat canned meat. Or these guys, train pushers. Now, I live about an hour west of Toronto, so it's about the closest I am to a city that has subways and multiple train systems. And I don't think it's nearly as bad as what it is in Japan. These people are hired to jam people, just to cram people into the trains. So the conductor says, okay, 10 seconds to take off, and the buzzer goes, and these guys are just shoving bodies inside the trains so they can close the doors. I mean, I wouldn't want to be that person that they're using to cram the other people in with. I mean, I could just feel my back going out as it speaks, and I wouldn't want to be inside when those doors shut. I mean, it'd be like living in a sardine can. And I sure hope that the trains don't have multiple stops, because you'd hate to be that guy at the back of the train that needs to get out. I mean, there would just be no way. So there's always something worse. But why are so many people disengaged with their jobs? Well, here's the reason I discovered that people don't understand the difference between their work and their job. And there is a difference, right? A job is what you do just to make money. We do it as kids growing up, going through high school, going through university, college. We just take the job we're flipping burgers, we're doing the stuff that we need to do just to make some money. Unfortunately, some of us get caught in that trap and we just stay in there. And we become like the 85% of North Americans that are just doing jobs that they don't like to do. Whereas your work is what you were put on this planet to bring. Your work is what you were to bring to the world. Each of us have seeds of greatness inside of us. Each of us have seeds of opportunity, of creativeness, of passion. We have all kinds of seeds inside of us. The problem is we get stuck in just doing those jobs. We get stuck in that hamster wheel. We never put ourselves in an environment where we can actually grow and become the person that we're meant to be. If you took an apple and we cut an apple open, we all know that there's apple seeds inside of an apple, right? If you took one of those apple seeds and stuck it on a counter and left it there for 2 months and came back in 2 months, what would it be? It'd still be a seed. Until you take that seed and put that into a container, just shove it down and bury it into dirt, give it some nutrients, give it some water, give it some sunshine, protect it from elements, that seed begins to grow and it becomes a plant that you can now transplant, put outside and become a tree. And then that tree begins to bear fruit and it produces thousands of seeds. That's you and I. That's our responsibility, is to get into environments where we can grow, where we can develop and become the person that we're meant to be. That's what we're on this planet to bring. The unfortunate thing is, like I said, so many of us are disengaged in jobs or are doing jobs that we don't like to do, and we never put ourselves in an environment. So that's why I'm excited that so many of you are here listening and watching and taking a part of this weekend, because it's putting yourself in an environment where you can grow and begin to discover who you are, who you're meant to be, answer that entrepreneur calling and start moving forward. Because it's living a life of purpose, living a life of living out our dreams that we really want to be at, isn't it? I mean, doing the thing that you're passionate about. And that's what we're going to look at now. But first, I want to do something. I want to ask you a couple questions. Are you where you hope to be right now at this stage in your life? Doing what you want to do? Or are you stuck in that hamster wheel like the 85%? Are you building your dream life or working toward it? Are you living your dream life? Or are you actively working towards building that? And are you following the call on your life and living your life with purpose? So let's look at 3 areas. And in these 3 areas, I want you to rate them from 1 to 5. Right? There's no zeros because you're living and breathing, you're doing something. So we're going to rate it from 1 to 5. So we're going to give each of these categories a 5-star rating from 1 to 5. So 1 being really poor, not great, 5 being excellent, wonderful, perfect. Okay. And I want to encourage you as we're going through this and as you go through the rest of this weekend, that you've got a pad of paper beside you and you're taking notes. Successful people write things down. Successful people don't just trust their memory to remember everything. Unless you've got a Jim Quick brain that you've trained and conditioned to memorize and take in all kinds of data, we need to write things down. So I want to encourage you to write things down. And I want you to score yourself from 1 to 5 in these areas. So let's look at careers, since we've been talking about careers and where we are in life. Are you doing what you want to do? And are you getting paid what you're worth in that area? So that might be a little bit of a catch. You might be getting paid really well doing what you're doing, but you might not like what you're doing. So that would kind of put you about a 3. Or you might be doing what you love to do, but you're just not getting paid for it. I mean, I know there's lots of coaches and mentors that are in that category, but that would still put you around a 2 or 3. So give yourself a score there from 1 to 5. And next, let's look at your wellness, because your wellness is important. Wouldn't you agree? And are you where you should be with your health, balance in life, and your spiritual and mental life? So your health, looking at your, how are you looking after yourself? Are you eating well? Are you looking after yourself well? Or are you on the go constantly, just filling up at fast food restaurants? And you know that fast food restaurants typically are just designed to fill you up. They're not designed to fuel you. So where are you on your health? You're exercising, getting rest and looking after yourself there. Give yourself a score there. And balance. We talked about the balance. My life derailed about 12 years ago. It's because I didn't have balance. I was putting 80% of my time and energy into working my business and working my work and working my passion. I wasn't looking after myself. Spiritual, mental, we know we're spiritual beings in physical bodies. We need to be connected. We need to be looking after ourselves there, fueling our brains, fueling our minds, looking after ourselves. So give yourself a score between 1 to 5 in that whole wellness area. Where would you be there? And next is connections. And I'm talking about relationships, of course. And let's look at them personally. Where are you with, getting along with your neighbor, friendships with your neighbors, people you come in contact with daily, with family and friends? How are those friendships? How are those relationships? What about your business and professional relationships? Are you the same person in business and in your professional life as you are in your home life? Are you that same person? Are you the person people want to be around when you show up on a Zoom call, or you show up in an office, you show up at a business meeting or a conference? Are you the kind of person people want to hang around with? And how about your romantic relationships? Where are you on that scale? Because all of us want to have someone close to us. We want to have someone to share our lives with. But where are you in that romantic journey with somebody in your life? How is that relationship working? So add up all your scores. Add up those 3 sections, the 1 to 5 that you got in each section, and let's look at how you did. So if you score between 12 and 15, then congratulations, you're in the top 8%. They actually did a study where they followed 1,000 entrepreneurs for a year. They started in January, followed them through till December to see what their goals were, what their objectives, where they wanted to go. And then in December, they looked at it to see where they made. And only 8% of people actually accomplished everything that they set out to do. 8%. So that's a very small percentage. So if you scored that high, you're doing really well. But you know that if you're even at that level, there's still things that you can do in your life. It's kind of like being an elite athlete, right? Elite athletes, just because they turn pro, doesn't mean they back off and slack off. They're still working. They're tweaking their diets. They're tweaking their exercise routines, their conditioning. They're working on the golf swing. They're working on their shots. They continue to grow. They tweak things constantly to move forward. And if you score between 7 and 11, then that's awesome. You know you're heading in the right direction. You're starting to head it. You're moving the needle forward. You're moving your life forward. You know that there's things that you can continue to grow. There's things that you need to continue to build, like good habits and good routines, but you're heading in the right direction. And if you're at that lower level between 3 and 6, I still want to congratulate you because you have given yourself an honest evaluation. And that's where it starts. It starts with being honest. I think we need to take inventory like this often, just so that we can stay on track, that we can make sure we're staying on course, because it's too easy to get laxed in areas in our life. We can get blinded to areas and just focus on strengths and move on those things and not work on the things that we're weak on. That's why it's important to have an evaluation or do an evaluation from time to time. So I'm really proud of you. If you're at that lower level, don't be discouraged, because you're here. You've placed yourself in an environment where you can begin to move forward, where you're demonstrating that you're ready to start moving. And I want to ask you, are you really ready? I want you to give me a 1 in the chat if you're ready to start going, if you're ready to start placing yourself in those environments where you can grow, where you can be nurtured, where you can become the very best that you're meant to be in all areas of your life, in business and in life, in your personal relationships, in your business relationships. And give me a 2 in the chat if you really believe that this is your time. I mean, 2022, is this your year that you're really going to start moving the needle forward? You may have made promises to yourself years past. You may have made and set out it with good intentions, but never really moved the needle forward. Is this the time that you're going to start to do it? I mean, these last 20 months, they've taught us that things can be turned around quickly and maybe not recover as fast. Are you ready? Is this your time to start moving forward? And give me a 3 in the chat if you are prepared to do what's necessary to move forward. Doing what's necessary is such an important element. I met with a client once. They had paid for their entire year. And I sat down with them at our very first meeting. I said, what do you want to accomplish in 12 months? They said, I want to make $1 million. I said, okay, how are you going to do that? They said, well, I just want to be a speaker. I said, wonderful. What do you think your speeches are worth. And then we started to do the math to see how many they would have to do through the entire year. Then we started talking about the work of getting out there, the things that they would have to do to start getting to that level. I mean, you can't just show up on the scene with no backstory, with no accreditation, and charge $50,000 to $100,000 for a speech. How are you going to start to grow that? Do you know what? Even though that person paid for their entire year, they never showed up again. They weren't ready. They weren't prepared to do the work. So are you prepared to do the work? The boys talked earlier today about how much hard work goes into putting on an event like this. The entrepreneurial journey is not an easy journey. It's a challenging journey, but it's the most worthwhile thing that you will ever do. So as I promised earlier, I want to introduce you to the 3 principles that changed my life. I keep these on a postcard right at my desk. And whenever I lose sight and I get off track, I look at this postcard and it gets me back on track. And here they are. We're going to look at focus and the importance of focus. We're going to look at the importance of creating plans. And then, of course, action, because we know that without action, nothing happens. So let's begin with focus. We can focus on the macro level or the micro level. And by that, I mean this. If you're sitting at home, you're in an office, you're in your car, you are looking out a window, or you've got a window close to you that you can look out. If you look out that window, you can see the full view of what you see in that window. That would be the macro level. That would be the big picture. And you can see buildings and trees and birds and houses and whatever you see in there. That's the macro view. Then there's the micro view. You could zoom in on one thing. There might be a bird that just landed in a bush, or there might be a particular car that caught your interest that's traveling or something. And you can zero in on that. It's kind of like a microscope. You zero in on that. It's important to do this because this is where we really discover who we are. If you want to know what your passion and your purpose is, this is how you begin to do it. By focusing in on who you are. You first discover what your values are. You focus in on your values. What's important to you? What's key to you? What makes you up as an individual? Because it's uniquely different for all of us, but there's many common ones that we all share. But understanding what your values are will help you moving forward in success, because it'll define what you will and will not do. Because there's sacrifice with all your values. Let's say you value honesty. In order to stay honest, you need to keep yourself out of positions where you may be challenged to say a mistruth. So you have to sacrifice being in compromising positions. If being faithful in a relationship, for example, is important value to you, then you know that there's certain people you need to not hang around with, certain clubs you don't want to go to. There's certain websites that you're not going to visit. There's certain things that you're not going to do so that you do not compromise that value of faithfulness in that relationship. Does that make sense? This is how we begin to discover who we are as a person. This is how you begin to discover what your purposes are, what you're passionate about, your values, what people are saying about you, how they describe you, what people think of when they see you. Those are your values. And you can begin to create a top and bottom list. You start to create things that you will do. You create things that you won't do. And as you begin to formulate this list, it comes closer and closer to who you are as a person, and the gifts and the talents and the skills and the abilities that you have inside of you will start to come into view. That's your purpose. That's your passion, right? The thing that you just love to do. And as you move forward in that, it begins to become more clear. And then you can focus on describing or determining what your success is. You need to define what success is in order to achieve it. Like 12 years ago, when my life derailed, I was, by all accounts, very successful. I was running a company. I had employees. I had contracts for 12 months and more. I was really busy, 60 plus hours a week. I was coaching, mentoring on the side, 20 to 24 hours a week. On all accounts, I was really successful. But I derailed. I burned out. Why? Because I didn't have a clear definition of what success meant to me. What would I do? What I wouldn't do? Having good boundaries around all the different areas of my life. That's what kept me from being successful. In order to be successful, you need to have a clear definition of where it is you're going, because if you don't, you will never know if you've reached it. You'll just be like that hamster going on the hamster wheel. You'll just keep going and serving and working and giving and pouring out energy and never really arriving at your success. But once you define what it is, then you can start to move towards it. Does that make sense? So let me ask you this. If money was no object and you could do anything knowing that you wouldn't fail, what would you be doing? So let's just eliminate a couple of the big problems, right? Big problems for people is money. So let's just say I just put $10 million in all of your bank accounts. So now you don't have to worry about money. We know that $10 million will keep us going through our life. And I'm going to give you a 100% guarantee that regardless of what you put your hands to, you will not fail. What is that thing that you would do? What's that thing that you would do waking up Monday morning? What would you do? I mean, sure, you might want to just sleep and lay around on the beach for a little while, but that would get tiresome. What would you want to do? What would you want to contribute? What would you want to bring back? What would you do to help people around you become their very best? Those are the things that you need to start writing down. Those are the things that you need to start journaling and start keeping track of, because they will help you to discover your purpose and help you to move forward. Next, let's talk about planning. I mean, we can talk about planning for the long term, the short term, and the immediate, right? Or as I like to say, we plan for the future, the soon, and the now, right? We're thinking about the future, where we want to go, what our ideal life looks like, what are the long-term goals, and we look at what the smaller goals are that we need to do to achieve that along the way, and what are the things that we need to do right now. In 2020, I turned 60. I know I don't look like I'm a day over 59, but I turned 60 in 2020. And I decided that what I wanted to do was run a marathon when I turned 60. So at 58, I started to train for my marathon. I started to go out running, and believe me, the first couple of kilometers I did, I'd have to run 100, 200 meters, and I'd have to walk 100 or 100 meters and catch my breath. And then I'd run again and walk again. I mean, I've always been athletic. I've always looked after myself. I was just never a long distance runner. I got myself up to where I could run 3 kilometers a day and not be winded. It felt really good. It was just a natural routine, running 3 kilometers a day. Then I started to push the envelope, going to 5 and to 8. And then once I hit the double digits, I realized that, you know what? I hit 10 kilometers. Now all I got to do is I do that twice, and now I've got a half a marathon done. I do that again, and now I've got a full marathon. Mentally, I started to break it down, and I was able to achieve these goals. I remember speaking with a friend that had run several marathons, and he told me that running a marathon was just mental. I said, it's not mental, that's physical. 41 kilometers, that's physical. He said, no, it's all mental. And he's so true. 80% of that success was just the mental barriers, getting over those things. So guess what I did after I ran that marathon when I turned 60? I ran another one. I ran an ultra marathon the following year. But at 60 in 2020, I started to look at 2030. I started to look at when I turned 70. What do I want to do over this next decade? Am I just going to coast through? Am I just going to, be like that top 8%? You hit that elite status, that higher end status. Am I just going to coast through? What am I going to do? What kind of things am I going to start doing? So I started looking at 10 years. Down, and then I started to break down into the soon, down into the 7 year, the 5 year, the 4 and 3 years, and so on to the now. What things I need to start doing now in order to achieve those goals. So it's important that we start to think about the plans and start looking at ways to execute them. And then once you've done that, it's time for action. Now it's time to get momentum, because action is required to move us forward to accomplish a desired outcome, right? We need to move forward. We need to start doing something, and we may need to stop doing something, and we may need to acquire certain things. And so at the action stage, we look at what do I need to do? What do I need to stop doing? What do I need to acquire? So to make fit, what's that going to look like? How am I going to get there? And then you got to look at the things you got to stop. Well, you're going to have to stop, maybe drinking so much or smoking. You may have to stop eating and buying junk food. You may have to stop doing all these kind of things. You may have to stop watching Netflix so much. And then what do I need to acquire? Well, I may need to acquire new sporting equipment. I may need to get a membership. I may need to hire a coach. So there's a number of things that I need to acquire in order to start moving myself forward. Would you agree with this statement? That sometimes we need someone to help us, show us what we don't know in order to get momentum, right? Sometimes we just need to have someone in our life to show us the things that we don't know. Like take that health example, you know, you may need a coach in your life to help you to design a program, to help keep you motivated, to help keep you going, to gain that momentum. It's so important to have momentum. Well, this is Diane. She's from New York, and I'm working with her right now. And she had this to say. I had no problem setting goals. Achieving them was another story. Anybody relate to that? Right? You can come up with plans. You can come up with all kinds of stuff. But how are you doing with, you know, being successful at them? How are you doing with the achieving part of it? But she said, you know, since working with Jim, I have been able to work and accomplish my goals with ease. He taught me how to use time management more efficiently when executing my plans. I'm no longer overwhelmed. Underline and highlight, bold type that word, overwhelmed by the big picture. I'm grateful for his guidance, support, encouragement, and continued journey in achieving bigger goals and dreams. It's so important that sometimes we can have all kinds of ideas, all kinds of thoughts of what we want to do, but we can get overwhelmed with them, can't we? And this is Laura from Colombia that I'm working with. And she said, Jim sessions connect myself with taking action from a great variety of options that appear in my heart ideas. I love Jim's calm energy that gives me lots of clarity. Yeah, I mean, we can get so many ideas, can't we? I mean, if you're sitting down, if you're anything like me, you're dreaming up ideas, you're thinking of new ideas, you're thinking of new plans, new ways to communicate, new things that you can do to help people through different problems and so on. And you can get overwhelmed. This lady in particular is artist, so she's looking at jewelry and designing her portraits and pictures and so on. And she can get overwhelmed with all the ideas. And so sometimes it just takes a coach to look at the macro level and just say, okay, let's move this one forward. Let's move this one to 5 years. Let's move this one a little bit forward on the timeline. And let's start working on these ones now, because they may be the ones that start generating some income so that you actually have a business. Right? You realize that that's the difference. You know, having a plan or an idea is not a business until we start generating some income. So how can we start doing that? And this is Helen from Ireland, whom I'm working with. And she said, Jim is an incredibly talented, multi-disciplined business and relationship coach who is currently challenging me to capitalize on my passions and strengths in up-leveling my business and future career vision. His value-centered guidance, wisdom, and experience shared in an uplifting, positive, inspiring, and open communication style. I'm grateful for the strategies and mentoring lessons acquired thus far and highly recommend Jim's services to anyone looking to enhance their career, business, or personal development. And that's what I desire to do, is I want to help people. I want to help you to go from feeling stuck to getting success. Anyone relate with that? Sometimes maybe you just feel a bit stuck. You've got some ideas, you know what you're passionate about, you know what your purpose is, but you're just stuck. You're not sure how to start moving forward and gaining success. Or going from being motionless to momentum. We know how important momentum is, isn't it? You know, it's said of a train that a small stone can keep it from starting. But once it gets going, a boulder can't stop it. And that's the same for you and I. We need that momentum in our lives, but sometimes it's hard just to get off of the couch, to get up out of the chair, to start with the routine, to start building and moving forward. Or maybe you feel derailed. And I want to take you from feeling derailed to being disciplined. And I know for many, discipline is a 4-letter word, like a 4-letter swear word. But discipline is so important. Without discipline, we will not achieve anything. We will not get to the place we need to be. And so I want to encourage you and help you to go from being derailed, feeling like your life is off track, to getting back on and being disciplined again. So let me ask you, are you really prepared? I asked you earlier, but are you prepared to invest in yourself in order to make 2022 your best year ever? Because if we invest nothing in ourselves, we'll get nothing in return. Would you agree? If you took $0 down to your bank tomorrow morning and put it in your account, what would it be worth in 5 years? It'd still be worth 0. What if we wait for 10 years? It'd still be 0. So we need to invest small amounts. You reap what you sow. What you invest, you get back. As you start to plant, as you start to grow, as you start to develop, as you start to work towards your success, then you become more successful. You start moving forward. You start reaping greater returns. It may not happen with a gazillion dollars at one time. It may incrementally just move you forward. And that's part of what I love to do with people, is get them in and start moving them forward and start generating stuff so that they don't have just an idea. Now they've got a business. They're making some money on it. You know, I've been, as the guy said earlier in my introduction, I've been married for almost 40 years. It'll be 40 years next May that I've been married to my wife, Mary. And I've mentored individuals and partners worldwide now for 30 years. I've run my own company for 26 years. I was a pastor for 23 years. I create next level success programs for life and business to help people. I've been featured on ABC, NBC, and Fox. I've been interviewed on podcasts and YouTube television. I've been invited to speak on stages, virtually and in person, globally. I'm an author of 2 books, and I've co-authored 3 other books, including #1 and best-selling books. I've received multiple awards for my work, and I'm able to mentor individuals and couples all over the planet. And I put together a small ebook that I want to give everybody as a gift. And I know the guys have the link to be able to pass that out. And I want to get you this book. And in it, it contains a lot of the material that we talked about today, goes through a little bit more in depth, but it'll give you a little bit more of an understanding, and it'll give you something that you can read, that's something tangible that you can have, that you can continue to refer and look back on. But I wanted to add something special today for this community, for entrepreneurs just like yourself. You may be an entrepreneur and you want to grow to that next level. You may be just kind of testing the waters and playing around with different ideas. You may be just investigating it, regardless of where you are. I wanted to do something to help move the needle forward. So what I did was I created a 30-day fast track journey to help you towards success. Inside this, I share a PDF form of my 11 mindset tracks. Remember, we talked about the track. We talked about being derailed. This is the one track. It's the mindset track. If we don't change this, we can't change our future. If we can't change this, we don't change what's going on inside, the mindsets, the different paradigms that we have. We don't change this, we can't change. And as we move forward, we can get all the success in the world, but if we don't have this changed, it's not going to help. You know, they did a study. They followed a number of people that won multiple $million lottery things, and they followed them for a year, found out that they were just as poor or broke or in worse debt than a year later after winning all that money. Why? Because they didn't change the mindsets. They didn't know how to handle the stuff. So I give you the mindset tracks that you can start looking at how to find your zone. Right? It's kind of like a football player. You know, if you're the receiver, you get into the zone. The zone is, I just receive the ball. I don't worry about the crowd. I don't worry about anything else. I'm just receiving that ball. If it's coming to me, I'm getting it, right? It's getting in that zone. It's focusing in. And we talk about the importance of focus and why it's so key. Silencing the inner voices. Anybody else have any of these voices? They're just kind of barking at you going, you shouldn't do that. You're not smart enough. You're not bright enough. You don't have enough money. You're going to lose it all. It's not going to be worth it. Who do you think you are? I mean, you ever have any of these voices barking at your head? We talk about how to silence those voices. And the moth effect, right? Ever watch a moth in the summertime buzzing around a light and they're just kind of scurrying all over the place? Do you get that some way sometimes with your thinking? You're all over the place and really not zeroing in on what you should be doing. I talk about breaking up the day and how to have a more effective day, how to get more out of your day by breaking it up. It actually is more beneficial to take small rests in the day, and recharges you, rebuilds you up. We talk about the ability or the importance of creating habits. The ritual of habits is so key. And gray areas. Oh, getting out of the fog. Have you ever been in a foggy situation and you're looking around and you're kind of driving through it or walking through it and you're going, okay, is that a tree? Is that a building? Is that another car coming towards me? You can't really discern what's going on around you. But once the fog lifts, everything becomes pristine. Everything becomes clear again. So we talk about how to get out of these gray areas, the importance of the 80-20 rule, the energy that we put in and the amount of return we're getting back on things. Next level productivity. How would you like to learn how to do in 40 minutes, 45 minutes, what it's taken you an hour to do? I teach you how to do those kind of things. Forward thinking, the importance of moving forward and thinking and transforming the way we think. This is all stuff that I teach in my higher end programs, but I want to create a PDF form that you can begin to read and look at these things. This is the other side of the track. It's this success track. It's like we talked about earlier, defining your success. uncovering your passions, really discovering who it is that you're called to be, who it is you're meant to be, what are you passionate about, what are your purposes? And then looking at who's doing what you want to do. What are they doing? What's missing? What's your unique approach? What are you going to do to it? We talk about your pro business, and by this, I mean a professional. You're the expert. You're the professional. How are you going to build that? How are you going to come across as a pro builder? What does that look like for you? And of course, busy versus productive. How many have ever been caught in a day where you're busy, busy, busy? There's all kinds of stuff. You're putting out fires, you're answering calls, you're sending out emails, you're doing all kinds of stuff. The end of the day comes and you look and you go, I didn't do anything. I didn't accomplish anything. I didn't move the needle forward at all. I feel no productivity at all. So how do we get back into discovering how to become productive versus busy? Finding clients, landing clients, social presence. I mean, would you agree that over this last 20 months, especially, everything is just blown up on the internet, online, everything? There's so many voices, so many things coming towards you. How do we get through that? How do we stay relevant in all of these things? And how about speaking with confidence? I know RJ was talking about speaking and joining his club to do that at, I just lost the name, but you can, Toastmasters, and you can do that. But how about learning how to speak more eloquently when you get into meetings, getting in front of clients, getting in groups, getting on conferences like this, being able to speak more articulately and communicating well and effectively. And of course, future plans. So these are the two sides of the tracks that I want to give you a PDF copy of. I also want to get a PDF copy of my Pro Builder worksheets. We'll talk about the Pro Builder again, just digging in deeper of who you are, what makes you unique, what is your angle, what do you like, what do you dislike? We start to build a thing so that you begin to see who you are. I remember sitting with a client once, and she was heading towards retirement. She knew she wasn't quite ready to retire, but she didn't know what she wanted to do. There was just something calling her. She knew that she wanted to do something forward. And some of you might be like this today, not knowing what she wanted to do, but she just knew that she wasn't ready to retire. She wasn't ready to put her feet up. She wanted to contribute. She wanted to help. And so after an hour spending time with her, we come up with a complete plan of what she could do, taking her 25-year career and turning that into a way to reach out to others coming up in that same industry so she could help them. And she had an amazing idea of what she wanted to do after she retired. And that's what we're starting to work on. We'll talk about the pro products, the things that you're going to build, what services, what products, what things are you going to bring to your clients, to your customers, to the people out there. The 5x5 Pro Builder. These are this is the structure that I use for all the writing I do, whether it's a book I'm writing, whether it's a chapter, a blog, an email, course creation, writing out videos, the content for my videos. I use this Pro Builder, this 5x5 Pro Builder, as a format for all that I do. And of course, then we look at the value ladder. We have to know what it is, where you're bringing it, how are people entering into your world, and then what the things look like as they grow through. I mean, do you have small end or high end products? Where are you on that? We begin to look at that. And here's Adam from Ontario. He's working with me right now in one of my fast tracks. And he says, I've been working with Jim for a few weeks now. Not only does he help me with the business side of things, but also the mindset that you need to build as an entrepreneur. He's passionate about you becoming successful, and it shows with our weekly group calls, coming up with lots of little ideas personalized to your business to help you along the way. And this is Jake from Ontario as well, and he's in the fast track with me right now, and he says, gently pushing you ahead, Jim Hetherington is a guiding light. He can see your potential and help you achieve your goals. Again, like we talked about earlier, getting out of the fog. Sometimes just having somebody on the outside speaking in will bring clarity, and you begin to see and formulate a plan to move you forward. And this is Dave and Laura. I coached the two of them individually. They're from Mauritius, which is just an island off of South Africa. And I meet with them, and they said that we love working with Jim Hetherington. From our initial call, he was calm, clear, and welcoming. Just what you need when you're a busy entrepreneur with a million things to process. Any other entrepreneurs got that same dilemma, a million things to process? We discussed the operations and goals for our individual businesses, and Jim was able to immediately grasp where we were and where we were headed. He brought clarity to existing sticky points, helped us refine current processes and identify new opportunities. We highly recommended working with Jim as a business coach. And having said all that, I wanted to share some of the people that I'm working with right now, so you have a bit of an idea. But this is what I want to do to help you to move forward, to have the best year ever, is I want to get you a copy of the PDF of my 11 mindset tracks. I want to get you a copy of the PDF of my 11 success tracks. Give you a copy of the PDF of the Pro Builder worksheet, the ebook that we talked about, the entrepreneur journey. Get you a copy of that. Plus, I'm going to create a private Facebook group just for those inside the Fast Track program, so that we can begin to encourage and build one another. How many have found that, you know, being in communities just like this, that you just get feedback from one another. You can encourage one another. You may have similar problems and you can help solve them. There may be complementary things that you can work on together. You know, it's like my dad used to say, you know, it's the same game, just different players, right? There was the same problems, the same structure, it's just different people coming into it. But having that connection is so important. And this is where it really gets good. We do weekly Zoom calls where I get online with those in the Fast Track, and we just look at the mindset tracks, the success tracks, the Pro Builder. We start working through these sheets, but we start working on their individual businesses. Like Adam was sharing, you know, it's these group calls where I'm getting little ideas that are geared towards who I am and what I'm trying to build and what I'm moving forward, making things relevant. And that's what happens inside these Zoom calls. And now I wanted to make this really a no-brainer, because I want to continue this journey. For me, it's all about relationships. It's all about building a journey. I mean, I could come in and start talking about all kinds of high-end programs. I want you to come in and test the waters. So regardless of where you are on your entrepreneurial journey, whether you're just investigating, whether you've been into it for a while or you've been into it for a long while, I know you can benefit from being inside. Some of these people that I'm coaching, they've been coaches and they've been business people for a lot of years. Some are brand new, just coming into this world. And so I want to make it a no-brainer. So I'm offering it for $67, an investment of $67. You get to jump in with me for a month, and we get the Zoom calls. We have the private Facebook group, the ebook, the Pro Builder worksheets, the success track, and the mindset track PDFs to work through. But I wanted to add a little bit more, if that's okay. Only if it's okay. Only if you're serious about making 2022 your best year ever. If you're really serious about this, I'll offer one more thing. If you're not serious, if you're happy with just the ebook and the $67 offer, I'll just stop there. But if you want a little bit more, I'm going to add, if you jump in right now, I'm going to add a 45-minute strategy session. And so we will go through the 30 days together. We'll meet those 4 times on Zoom in a group call. And then I will schedule a personal one-to-one call with you where we'll look at your business personally. We'll look at it and look at how it's going to move forward, how it's going to project moving forward. And I'll begin to work with you to see how we can move together going forward. So you get all of that for $67, the PDFs, those 2 tracks, the success tracks, the mindset tracks, the Pro Builder, the ebook, the private Facebook, the weekly Zoom calls, plus the strategy call of 45 minutes. That alone is worth it. I mean, my initial consulting fee is $500. So that gives you an idea of what's inside this program. And these success tracks that I'm sharing with you in PDF form. They're what I teach in my higher end programs, but I'm giving you an insight into those. So why am I doing this? It's simple. I'm the relationship guy. It's all about relationships for me. I want to build a relationship with you. I want you to jump in, test the waters, see if there's something that I can do to help move the needle forward, to help you find that balance between life and business, to help find that balance so that you can have success in business and have success in your relationships, that you don't become that person that finds it lonely at the top, right? Because you've got all the success in the world, you've accomplished your goals, but you've got no one to share it with. You've kind of lost balance as well. You've lost your health, you've lost some strength, you've lost some ability. How many would love to be successful, reach their goals, and have a healthy life, a well-balanced life, and well-balanced relationships to enjoy as you live that life that you're working towards, that you're working to build? I mean, we all want to have that. So I want to encourage you. I know the boys are going to drop the link in there, but it's just jimhetherington.com/fast track. And that will start to get you signed up and get you in there. And we're going to start February 1st. We're starting the first Tuesday is the next fast track that we're going to start. and I will make sure you got all the PDFs and everything for that day so that we can start going through them together. You'll get the link to the Zoom, and we'll make sure all of that happens through this. So that is my offer. I can't wait to work with you and get started with you. And I really appreciate this time sharing with you guys.
That's great, Jim. Thanks a lot. It's a good presentation.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
You put your links in the Facebook live as well. Yeah.
Well, Jim, again, thank you. Thank you so much for your presentation today. Thank you for still being with us. As again, we had intended to invite you out to an event in April, but I was not the entrepreneur. I was not ready for that, as you said. You know what I mean? I lost track after January, but you're still here. You're still part of our community. You're still out there helping people build a better life, including Curtis and I. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all that you're doing, and I look forward to continuing the journey with you guys.
Absolutely. So the link we've posted is actually our direct sale link for that program. It doesn't matter whether you purchase it through there or through jimhetherington.com/fast track, right? That's the link.
That's the link. But if it makes it easier to bring your group through yours, by all means, just do that. Whatever simple.
So that they get the same product, whether they purchase it through you or purchase it through us. We'll still get our exchange at the end of the day. But we do have, if people come from the 2022 Better Life Symposium, when you talk to Jim, make sure you quote the promo code 22BLS, 22BLS. For any of our speakers this weekend, when you get part of their free gift, please let them know you've come from 22 Better Life Symposium. So Jim, that PDF was a separate link, was it not? That they're getting for free?
The PDF, yeah. So if they go to
I couldn't find the link for that. So if you can tell us, we'll post it here and on Facebook for people to get access to that PDF.
Yeah. So if yeah, I sent you the PDF individually that you could give to them, but also if they go to the jimhetherington.com/fast track, they'll be able to opt in for the ebook. And they will be directed to the $67 page. They can just ignore the $67 page. If they just want to have the ebook, they can get that there. But I highly recommend that people grab the $67. I mean, I'm crazy for doing that, but I want to continue to build a relationship.
Absolutely. And he's not building just a relationship between him and you, right? He's building your relationships. That's the key. It really is about not only who do you know out there, but how do you treat them, right? Dr. Phil says you teach people how to treat you. Treat people the way you want to be treated, and you're going to get that respect. You're going to get that connection. You're going to get that involvement with people. Curtis, I posted the link here, jimhetherington.com. If you can post it on Facebook. And again, people can get that fast track program either by clicking that bit.ly link, and I don't believe you posted it on the Facebook group.
I did.
Or jimhetherington.com/fast track. So Jim, this has been amazing. I'm having a great weekend so far. I'm vibrating at this point, but so excited to have people like yourself out there and in our community to help people out there.
Yeah, no, I can tell you're excited. I think you guys are doing a great job. It was a great day yesterday. I know the afternoon, you've got the afternoon packed. It's going to be a good afternoon as well. So I hope I got things stirred up a little bit, got everybody excited and going, and yeah, have a good rest of the day. I really appreciate what you guys are doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here, for sharing that with everybody. I hope everybody got value from that. I know I did. I was taking notes. I was following along on your little quiz. I got a 10 out of 15 on that quiz. You know, maybe I'm a little harsher critic of myself, but I know I'll never be perfect. So the most I gave myself on the connections was a 4. On the wellness, I need my health to improve a little bit. So I gave myself a 3. And then when I evaluated, do I get paid well to do what I love to do? Look, I'm doing what I love to do. I started this volunteering and taking initiative on building my own business and my own venture. But I've still got work to do. I'm not quite getting paid what I would love to do for doing what I do. So there's work to do there. So I gave myself a 3. So I've got 10 out of 15. Perfect. Not bad, but I know where my areas of improvement are. So thank you for that little thing just by itself.
Perfect. Well, I'm glad it helped. I think it's a great structure. And like I said, it's great to do that periodically, you know, take inventory often so we can keep on track, keep things moving forward.